I honestly can't believe I'm making this video, but there are a surprising amount of people out there that still think Generation 6.5 is a thing, even with the Pokemon Sun and Moon announcement. Like, this is just a couple of the comments, and if we look at it, I'm going to try to figure out where all of this is coming from, and then utterly destroy every thought that should make that possible. So one big thing is the recent Generation 6.5 leak. You know, that fake list of fake Pokemon that's absolutely fake and has no reason to not be fake? Yeah, that list right there. It got a lot of publicity because it was easy views at the time, and that kind of put Generation 6.5 back on the people's minds right now, because when we look at it, Generation 6.5 just stems from Z version. And now that Z version is absolutely dead, no one can say Z version's next. Now all the people that aren't believing in a 7th generation that still want Z version, they have to transfer over to the 6.5 mentality. Generation 6.5 has been an idea almost as long as Z version, but now it's kind of like getting a second wind of denial. And that's mostly just from, you know, the Zygarde forms. Those have been announced. Ash's Greninja, that's kind of in there. And just other thoughts from Kalos, other unreleased features. You know, there's 1,000 waves, 1,000 arrows for Zygarde, that there's hidden moves and a lot of data, but I'm going to use the rest of this video to absolutely disprove why that data isn't really that significant. So the big idea is the belief in 7th generation. You have to believe that the Pokemon Sun and Moon games are not 7th generation, or else it immediately takes away any of the thoughts of Z version, which is all that Generation 6.5 is. So let's talk about the idea of a generation in Pokemon for a second, because generations and groups of Pokemon are always discovered. That's a discovery of a new Pokemon, it's a discovery of a new region, it's an absolute discovery of all these things, and it generally comes in batches. The idea of half a generation is just flawed from the get-go, because you can't discover half of a generation. It's pretty binary. It's either a whole generation or it's the new generation. And that's a big part about this, because everything is tied to that generation. Even Pokemon getting leaked in over time does not make it any different. You know, we had Honedge being announced separately from the starters. That doesn't mean Honedge is Generation 6.1. It's all Generation 6, and the group of it is what's happening. So that's just kind of like how generations work. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Generation 6.5 can still be a thing if Sun and Moon are Southern Kalos, or Spain, or something related to Southern Kalos. And that's another really big argument, is that to keep Kalos alive, you know, there's a lot of talk about Southern Kalos and a lot of expansion that could be made there. Yes, you can find a new group of Pokemon there, but it's not going to be Generation 6.5 if it is Southern Kalos, because think about it. We have the Johto region. Johto is directly connected to Kanto, but we don't consider that Generation 1.5, it's a separate generation. So even if Pokemon Sun and Moon is Southern Kalos, it has no evidence that it could be half a generation, because again, it's one or the other. You don't have half a generation, and that was really shown with the way that the 2nd generation came out. Also, the 1st generation got split up, that it was originally going to be 190 Pokemon, and then some Johto Pokemon and other Pokemon were scrapped, and it was all mixed together. And that just kind of shows another layer to it, that, you know, they split the generations. Generation 1, what they could have done is they could have left out the half that ended up becoming Johto, and then call that 1.5 generation, but no, they just took it to the next level. So that means Game Freak has already done this in the past, so that means anytime we get a new batch of Pokemon, it's going to be a new generation. This is why we saw Ho-Oh in the first episode of the Pokemon series, because there were still those kind of hints that it was supposed to be more, but then just became its own separate generation. And if that wasn't enough, this is the ultimate argument that just kind of destroys everything. The casual Pokemon fan. The casual Pokemon fan is what the Pokemon company is targeting. Game Freak. They are a company. It's a business. They're here to make games and try to keep their business alive while growing their brand. The best way to grow your brand is by making a new generation. And also, when you think about it, there's not really that many people compared to the amount of people that buy Pokemon that are interested in Z theories or interested in Generation 6.5. They just want to play Pokemon and nothing else. So as we can see right here, the top video for like a Pokemon Z version theory or Z version confirmation is from Unlisted Leaf, and it's over 640,000 views. That might sound like a lot, but X and Y sold 14 million copies, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire sold 11 million copies. Now, a lot of those are going to be in Japan, but still, it shows that it's a very small minority of people that are actually engaging in these discussions of Generation 6.5. But also at the same time, a lot of those viewers could just be other gamers that don't even play Pokemon that think, oh, Pokemon, I haven't played that in years. What's this whole Z version thing? What's that on the trailer or on the thumbnail? You know, people are looking into that, and they're not directly tied in with Pokemon, so some of those views don't even count in that way. So it kind of offsets. Either way, very small amount of people. And another thing is that those people, they don't care about the secret moves. They aren't even aware. They're probably the kind of people that also weren't aware of Volcanion. You know, they're only taking official huge news announcements, and even that, some people that I know don't even know about Pokemon Sun and Moon yet because they're just chilling. They don't actively engage news. They don't actively engage theories, and that's the majority of Pokemon fans right there. So they don't know about Thousand Wave, Thousand Arrows. They don't know about that data mining. They don't know that there's other things still in the game, like AZ's Floed in those extra game slots, which now kind of show to be Sun and Moon. Anyways, and they get that little bits of YouTube exposure. You know, they might watch Let's Plays, they might see a video from here to there, but they don't care. That's the biggest thing. They don't care, and that's what the Pokemon Company is aiming for. So let's go and look at the Pokemon X, Y, and Z anime with this. That they updated all of Zygarde's storyline essentially in the cartoon, and you can do that. That as long as Kalos completes in some way, the average fan is going to be happy. You don't need a Z version to get Zygarde's storyline and feel fulfilled. You're going to get that in the anime, in the movie, same with the Volcanion tie-in. You know, we're going to get everything that we need to know about Kalos, and then some, just from the rest of the series. You know, it doesn't all have to be in the game. That's only what the average gamer fan, hardcore gamer fan is going to want, except for the casual fan of Pokemon, which again is what is being targeted right here. I mean, all you have to do is also just throw out a Zygarde with an event Zygarde that knows Thousand Waves, Thousand Arrows, and you don't need to make a Z version for that. So going back to the whole, you have to kind of give up 7th generation as idea, it's the same with Z version. Anything that was a Z version theory that is now dead by Sun and Moon existing, you can also just use that to get rid of generation 6.5. Also, look at the trailer for Pokemon Sun and Moon. They only reference main series games, main generational games the entire time. They'll flash all the trades. They went through the battle sequences of different generations. And then they only talked about the main series games. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, they didn't say it's 7th generation specifically, so it's going to be generation 6.5, or it could still be something that ties in with Z version. Now, that would maybe make sense if it wasn't for this.
It all comes together in an all-new Pokemon adventure. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon.
Your new 3D Pokemon adventure is about to begin. Introducing Pokemon X and Pokemon Y.
They didn't say X and Y was 6th generation, but no one didn't think it was going to be. That's because the Pokemon Company, they feel they don't need to explain themselves. That's because the target audience that has any bit of common sense is going to go, new games, new Pokemon equals new generation, and nothing else needs to be explained. Now true, the Pokemon Company has thrown curveballs in the past. They like kind of being tricky with how they release things, but not something as big as this. If you look at this commercial, the Pokemon Sun and Moon commercial, it's the best thing that the Pokemon Company has put out to advertise a game, in my opinion. That for Pokemon 20, it is the most heartfelt, moving, impressive, amazing, perfect commercial that Pokemon could put out. They're not going to make something of such high quality to get people so emotional about Pokemon just to shit on their expectations and go, no, it's generation 6. It's not, no, that's not how it works. This is generation 7. Every context clue that they give is generation 7, and from a business standpoint, there is no reason for them to pull a prank on this. That they have done some little things, but that would be too big to screw people over on their expectations of a new generation. So generation 6.5 is dead. That's it.